Well, hello, my friends. I hope your weekend is treating you well. I'm back with, as you can see, a card-based story game from the print and play contest, of course. We're kind of in the latter end of this right now. I think October 4th is when all submissions have to be in. So hopefully we can do like some sort of overview of the games we've played and before the voting begins and the contest sort of kicks into high gear. We're trying desperately to get all of these played and done before then. So Dmitry is playing a gardening game called Burgeon. Aishwarya, she is playing a Save the Queen, a bee themed game. She might be doing it on Tabletop Simulator, which I think is super cool because there's some custom dice which are a little tricky to do. Veselko is doing a grim, dark pen and paper dungeon crawl called Weird, W-Y-R-D. I'm sure you pronounce that one. And finally, Matt, I believe, is doing one called Nevermind, which is like a meditation game. It's really, that's an interesting one. I think that's what he's doing. Anyway, links below. Go and check out the other channels and see what we have for you this week. I picked, of course, you know me and my love of storytelling. This one is called the Multiverse Express. And I think it's based off like a cartoon or a TV show. I'm not sure. I'd never seen it. The designer is Ben Morita. And the idea is you've been somehow put on this train, all right? And you have all these cars of the train, and you're trying to make your way up to the conductor in the cabin in order to get off, right? The hitch is every single car in this train is a whole different world that has its own little rules and problems, and so you're trying to figure out how to get from this car to this car to this car to this car. And as you can see, they get progressively harder. All right. All the cards are labeled, however, with these wonderful little numbering systems so that when you play, it'll tell you to go and basically read a card with a number on the back. So you can jump back and forth throughout this game, just referencing the numbers on the back of the cards. There's also a bunch of little teeny tiny cards also with numbers on the back. These are like your kind of like, I guess you'd call it maybe your item deck kind of a thing. And all of your cards have, let's see if I can find one of these. Oh, here, this is a good one. This is our backpack. We can carry 10 items, and then it has a tiny little reference card of what all these kooky symbols mean. And there are a lot of symbols in this game. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Seventh Continent kind of idea, where I think, at least when I've played it, what ends up happening is I'll make my way through and then I'll hit a point where I'll run out of life or abilities or ways to progress, and then you have to kind of reset back to your first car. This time, of course, knowing where to invest your energy. You know, pick that lock, pick up that suitcase, whatever it is. And then you can get a little bit farther until maybe you hit a dead end and then you go back. So it's one of those games, I think. Time Stories maybe is another good example where really you don't play this one through once, right? This isn't the game where you start in the first cabin and you make it to the final one. No. This is a more along the lines of a choose your own adventure. So there are dead ends. There are places where if you choose this, you're going to end up with this kind of an ending. And then, of course, it's really easy to reset the deck. You just reorder all the cards and hop on the train again and see how far you can get. Now, with that in mind, obviously, I don't want to play through the whole game and show you all of the little goodies and gems this game has. So I think we'll just do a little intro, give you an idea of how it plays. And of course, if you're interested, the usual, you can print it out yourself. There are a ton of cards for this one, all right? And you must print the front and the back. The good news is there isn't a lot of color. So if you want to do a black and white on this, you absolutely can. It is, the idea behind this is obviously a huge, sprawling game, right? And I think, wow, like, yeah, this could be a really big, meaty story game. I think at this point the designer has said this will give you enough of an idea of his vision and how the game would work. But you know, clearly I think you could sink a lot of hours into this as the designer. So let's just show you what happens when we hop on this train and take off. I think in order to save myself some sanity, instead of trying to like zoom in on every card, I think I'm just gonna put it like on the screen somewhere, so you can read what I'm reading without having to like give you guys motion sickness with all the movement in this. So let me set it up. I'm going to take out some of the later cabins for now because we're not going to get there. I'm not going to show you all the goodies this game has, but we'll start on some of the normal, I think, cabin number 1, which is easy at the easy level or the start level. I don't think we're going to get to these guys, is my thought, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I make some really awesome choices the first time out and we rock and roll. But let me set this up real quick and we'll jump in. So this is us at the beginning of the game. We have our little backpack that can hold 10 items. And we start the game with some setup cards. We start the game with our playfulness, our friendship, and our optimism, which is a nice way to start. We also start with one other card that lets us refresh. It says, take a breath and rest. You've been through a lot and you deserve it. So this is a nice way to sort of replenish our backpack later in the game. Has a cute little signal here of a little arrow shooting off, which means after we use this card, it's discarded and it's out of the game. So this is a one-time use item. The rest of our items, when we use them, they become exhausted. And if we take a refresh action, we can get them back. So that's really nice. Along with these 4 items, you get to pick 3 items from the little A pile, the sort of starting item deck. And helpfully enough, the rules recommend that we take a negotiate, a search, and a fight item icon for our very, very first game. So let's see if we can find one of these. So we can take with us, here's one, a long sharp stick. Poke people with it. A magnifying glass that will help us search. And what was the last one they said? Negotiate. Let's have some willpower. All right. So the rest of these we'll put back in our little deck for now. And this is kind of, I guess you could think of it as our starting character. All right. And these are all things that we're going to be able to use to progress through this train. With that, we're ready to begin. So let's turn over our start card and begin our adventure. You're inside a warehouse where you go when you feel overwhelmed, to think and break windows, but mostly to break windows. Your moon is rabid. After arguing with your parents, you stormed out of the house and your legs automatically brought you here. Suddenly, you hear a loud noise. It sounds like a train approaching, but the only train tracks around are the old ones that cross the warehouse floor and have been abandoned since before you were born. Indeed, a big passenger train arrives and stops right in front of you. You look at the train in awe, barely noticing the hissing of the air brakes releasing. Right in front of you, there's a ladder that climbs to a space between wagons, and you see the door of that car is open, spilling a light from inside. You don't see any windows on the car itself, but for some reason, it feels like a passenger train, not cargo. Okay, let's take a look at our little icons, shall we? First, keep this card. Okay, so we're not going to discard it. We're not going to get rid of it. This is part of our story. We need to hold on to it. This little black arrow or brown arrow, colors, tells us, continue on to card number 0101. And in order to win this scenario, we need to make it to card 0112. All right, so we're dealing with the 01 deck, as I like to think of it. We're going to keep this for ourselves and head on over to card 11. All right, you enter the door at the back of the car and it closes softly behind you. You're inside what seems like a large passenger train. The ceiling must be at least 13 feet high. You're the only person in the car. At the end, near the door to the next car, there's another door with a bathroom sign on top. The luggage bins are high above your head, but not unreachable. You traverse the car looking at the open spaces, but they all seem empty. 2 of the bins have doors and both are closed. On your arm, glowing, you notice what seems like a glow-in-the-dark tattoo with the number 768. as if you had a digital counter under the skin. Ah, okay, so this introduces this idea of levels here, and there's a number and it can move up and down as the game progresses. Now at this point of the game, we don't really know what this is counting or why it's glowing on our arm, but it is something that we're going to have to keep track of. So for right now, we are set at number 768. Good or bad? We don't know. The other thing is you'll see your options at this point, and these little icons on the left tells you what cards you have to exhaust in order to take that option. Okay, doesn't mean you get to do all of them. All right, so for example, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 little fingers, which is the symbol for interact. So we can interact with 6 things before we are out of interact choices, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this first card. So if we wanted to, we could spend most of our interacting time going through. We could open the first bin, open the second bin, try the entrance door, go to the exit door, or go to the bathroom door. Each one of these leads us to a different card. Remember, we're trying to get, in order to win, to card number 12. So do we want to dilly-dally and muck around with what's in this particular car, or do we want to just go straight to the exit of 09? That's where this game comes in. So what you can do is interact with all these, figure out what's going on, and then reset the game. And, well, I shouldn't say reset the game. When you have to reset the game, you'll know, don't bother going to the bathroom. That one's not worth it. Or, oh my goodness, we absolutely must open the second bin for whatever reason. This is also why I don't want to show you too much of this game, because it is all about exploring and making your choices. This was kind of a hard one to film, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, as it were. So for now, what I think we'll do, just to make it interesting, is let's just roll a dice and see what happens. So we have a 1 through a 5, why not? We're gonna take option number 2, and we're gonna open the second bin. So to do that, we have to exhaust one of our abilities here. Now, some of our abilities are single items. Our friendship can only be used to interact. Some of our abilities are, of course, double. So our magnifying glass lets us interact and investigate. So I don't want to spend one of our big items for this. I feel like I'm going to use my playfulness. I'm feeling kind of playful. I'm going to open the second bin. We have, of course, exhausted our items, so I think what I'm going to do is put that, oops, I think I went with playfulness, didn't it? We'll make this our exhausted bin. So any items up there, we know we can no longer use, but I am going to try to open this second bin. So let's go to card number 4 and see what we get. When you open the second overhead bin, thousands of bouncy balls fall out, covering the entire floor of the car. They're in basic colors, red, green, blue, yellow. You think, however, you saw one purple ball going by, but as you look around, all of them seem to be in those 4 colors. Okay, so we have some choices now. We can either get the balls. If we do, we're going to pick up item number 2. We can search to get just the purple ball and pull item 3, or we can just kick the balls if we're just angry or whatever. So I think what I'm going to do, and I think this is right, I'm not entirely sure, the rules are a little unclear here on how these items work, but if I was to say, okay, so I have, best way to think of this in my mind is I have 2 sort of active cards right now, and I can take actions on either of them. Even though I've opened the bin, I could at this point decide not to take any of these actions and go back and do one of these, all right? So if I wanted to, let's say, use my friendship, I could pick up all these balls and get item 2. Or I could decide I don't want any of this and I'm just gonna go to the exit door, all right? So I'm still able to use either of these cards. If, however, I decide to use an item that has 2 abilities, all right, this is the restriction. You cannot use a item with 2 icons to do 2 actions on the same card. So I can't, for example, use my magnifying glass to get all the balls and search for a purple ball, all right? I can, however, use my item to do 1 action on 2 separate cards. So I could decide to search for the purple ball and, using my magnifying glass, go to the exit door. Okay, does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that's how this works. Like I said, the instructions could definitely use some better examples, but the instructions do clearly say you cannot act on several actions on 1 card at once. So I cannot get balls, search purple balls, and kick the balls. All right, that's definitely not what I want to do. But let's go ahead and use our magnifying glass. Why not? We'll put it up here. And we are going to search for the purple ball, which is going to get us SO3. Let's have them in a little order here. What is SO3? You look through the balls and find the purple one you saw before. It's larger than the rest and seems to be bouncier too. Interesting. So this one has 3 different things. We can interact with it. We can, I don't know what that is. Looks like we can maybe throw it into something. I don't know. Or we can fight with it. Ah, okay. And there's a little dice here, which tells us if it has the, what do we call it, modifier of hesitate. So if we roll 1 or 2, it's going to be a fail. So it's some fighting ability, but not the most wonderful fighting ability. Got it. So that's pretty cool. So we picked that up, and we decided to use our interact ability to, should we just try to leave right now? Or should we open another bin? Let's see what happens if we go to the exit door with our interact. Can we get out of here? I bet you we can't, but let's find out. The door is an exact copy of the door through which you came onto the train. Try the door. Ooh, try key on door. Ah, okay, so this makes me think we don't have a key. I don't think I want to try to interact if I don't have the key. So let's hold off on this one. I think I'm done with the balls. I don't think I'm going to get, I guess we could pick up more, but for now, let's say instead, where do we think the key is? Maybe in the first bin? Let's be optimistic. Let's use our optimism. This is going to work. And let's try and open the first bin. Inside the first bin, you find a suitcase. One of those old-fashioned, hard-shelled suitcases. Ooh, all right. So we've already used our search token. So we can't search this. All we can do is straight up open it. All right, so let's do it. So use another interact token and just open the suitcase. You bring the suitcase down and open it. There are clothes and toiletries, but nothing too exciting or out of the ordinary. Okay. So this is a dead end, right? If the key is in fact in this suitcase, we can't get it unless we take our refresh action, or if we didn't have this, we would have to reset up the game and try again. But we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure where this key is. So for now, let's see. For now, we can't search this. So I'm going to put him up here to remind me of that. We don't have a key, so I'll put that up there to remind me of that. I feel like I've gotten all the balls, and this was a dead end. All right, so these two slide under here for now because I don't feel like they're going to help me. But we've opened the first bin. I guess we can try the entrance door or go to the bathroom door. Try entrance door. Sure, why not? We'll use our willpower. And let's try the entrance entrance door. The sliding door doesn't have any handles, buttons, or doorknobs. You find a slot next to the door that seems to be the way to open it, but try as you might, nothing happens when you put your hand in. Your only choice at this point is to move on. Shrugging, you walk to the aisle. You didn't feel when the train started moving. All right, another dead end. So that isn't what we want to do either. Let's try the bathroom door. Maybe we'll pry it open with a long, sharp stick. That's number 7. Oh, okay. The bathroom has the occupied light on. You try the door handle. It seems to be locked from inside. Okay, so we know we don't have a key, but here's another way to use the key. We could kick it in or throw at the door. Interesting. Kick door in. So we have both of these abilities. You know what? It seems a little more exciting to, what if we throw a ball at the door? Why not? Let's try. Let's exhaust our final one and throw our purple ball at the door. You throw the ball hard, but it's not heavy enough and causes no damage to the door. All right, so that was not the option. Let's use our refresh token. We have to discard it when we're done, and we can get as many of these back as we want. Why is that important? Well, remember, we can only carry 10 of them, so I think we're okay here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we got plenty of room in our backpack. Okay, so we're back. We've taken a breath. We've been a little bit thwarted here, but we're gonna power through it. We're gonna make this happen, okay? So it looks like these are all my dead ends. Okay, so we know what we need to do. We never did just try the door. Let's spend our magnifying glass, and we're going to, just to make this work, we're going to start by going back to that first bin. And we've already opened that suitcase. Did we already open that suitcase? I guess you could take, I think, now that I think about it, you are supposed to be putting tokens on what you've been doing so you remember that you've done them. And I don't think we opened the suitcase because we don't have number 5. Or did we get number 5? And I just forgot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, we did get it. Number 5. You open it, there are clothes, but nothing too exciting. Okay, so we did do it. So we did open it. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay. So we've opened it. So let's use our magnifier on it. First to search, we're going to get item number 1, which I'm hoping is a key. You take everything out at the bottom. The fabric lining has a bump. You rip it open and find a fairly large, unique key. Great. With our interact, however, ooh, interesting. We are going to try the door. We're just going to try the door, and that's going to take us to number 10. The door doesn't have any handles or doorknobs. There's a slot next to it that seems to be the way to activate it. Okay, question mark RM. What does that mean? All right, so this is a card item skill check. It says if we have the card skill item in our backpack with an RM indicator, we're going to move on to card 11, which is great. Otherwise, this happens. And if we look down here, there's all these cards with these little numbers. We have an MK, which is the key, but we don't have an RM. So we can't get there. So the key doesn't work. Interesting. All right, so where could the key work? This was card 10, so even if we try the key on it, it doesn't work. I guess we have to go to the bathroom. So let's do that. Let's try the key on the bathroom door. Let's spend our key. We have an interact token, but we have nothing sort of open to interact with at this point. I think we've done everything. So we're going to have to waste that, but that's all right. Let's spend the key and try the key on the door. Oh, that's a 001, so that's a different deck. Okay, you open the door easily. You go inside and see mostly what you would expect in a train's bathroom, except for a big button with a question on it and a lever next to it. So push the button or pull the lever. Well, let's do the first. Let's push the button, and now we go to 002. A disembodied robotic voice comes from somewhere in the room. Welcome to the train, it says. We hope you enjoy your travel. If you ever need help, use the portable helping unit to assist. We can search around, but we don't have any search. Or we can query the computer. Well, let's do that. Let's use our willpower to do two things. We're going to query the computer and pull the lever. Why not? So we're going to get item number 4 and 5. Let's start with item number 4. Says, "Where?" you ask, mumbling. "If you twist the button you pressed," says the voice, "you can take it with you." If you twist the button you pressed. Oh, interesting. So this is a wild card. And this lets us perform basically any ability we want. That's really cool. And it also tells us to decrease our tattoo by 10. Sure, sounds good. All right, I don't know what that means. But let's also pull the lever and get item number 5. Where is that? Here it is. You pull the lever and hear a loud hiss. Then you hear a voice. "Connection doors have been unlocked. RM." Ah, so the answer was in the bathroom this whole time. Who would have thought that? All right, so let's head back. We've done all of those. We've done that one. Here we go. Here we go. So now we have card RM, which means we get to head to number 11. All right, so and I think this is going to be a new area. So let me just, before we go any farther, see. We've done all that. We did the balls. Anything else? Okay, so we have a level check. With your fingers inside the slot, the door opens. It seems to be some kind of biometric. The noise from outside inundates the car and reminds you that you're on board a moving vehicle. You step out and feel the cold wind. The door closes behind you and you quickly move to the next car. When you look at your arm, you notice that the number on the tattoo decreased. You wonder what will happen when it goes to 0. Ah, interesting. Keep this item. So we know that our starting number has now gone down 250 for whatever reason. Okay. So with that in mind, and doing a little math, so that puts us at 518, and I'm guessing that means we're allowed to move on to a normal level, right? So at the beginning we have these decks, some are labeled normal and some are labeled hard. I have 2 labeled normal. So I guess we can pick one of these, and that's the car that we're now going into. Does that make sense? I think so. So let's say we want to head to this normal next. So what we'll need to do is sort of clear up where we were. So we can go through any cards that we've already played and keep any of them we think might be relevant. I don't think anything in this first card, to be honest, is relevant. These were the cards that we didn't go to, so I'm not going to peek at them. Instead, I'm just going to sort of reset up this original deck. I am, however, going to keep these 2 cards just as a way to track sort of where I am as far as this magical tattoo number, because I think it is important for the game. I'm also going to keep this one because that's my little win condition, is to get to card 12, which we didn't get to. Assuming we can come back here and do that, but we shall see. So let's keep these 2 in our in our hot little hands. And we are at the next normal. Peeking past the cables and connectors, you can see a sliver of the landscape beyond. It's a desertic view, all sands as far as you can see, and no animals, plants, or civilization in sight. How far is home from the nearest desert? You need to figure out soon how to go back. You rush to open the door to the next car. Oh, well, here we go. Never mind. We get back all of our little cards. Fabulous. We're filling up here. We're at 9. We also get this little symbol, which is get A. So we get to pick anything we want from the A deck and add it to our tableau. So we can get investigate, and a running ability, an old-time pocket stopwatch. What does that do? Oh, it's an undo. That's kind of cool. Handle, a wild card, but with a possible fail. Negotiate, strength, curiosity. So what do we have right now? I feel like we have a lot of strength, so I don't think we need that. I feel like we've been using a lot of investigate, or should we pick a new? Sure, why not? Let's get some dexterity. That sounds good. Let's try something new. So this will be the last one we can carry in our backpack. We are running out of room here. Okay. So we got an item from A. That's great. And it says to go to card number 301. Fabulous. Okay. Ooh, all sorts of stuff. It's a very small card. Good. Or it looks small because the walls left and right are lined with shelves and drawers and cabinets. Everything looks full of trinkets. Coming out of a semi-empty shelf, a rat introduces herself. Squeak, hello, welcome to my humble abode, shop. How can I help you? At the far end, you see the exit door of the card. Look at the shelves, look at drawers, look at cabinets. All right, so we get to do these things without spending any ability. They're just a free. We can talk to the rat and we can open the door. Okay. All right, so I think I would love to keep going, but I don't want to spoil too much. Okay, well, let's just look at 2, 3, and 5 because there's no choices there. If you guys play this game, you will definitely get to look at shelves and all of that goodness. All right, 2. Let's do 2 first. 4 shelves call your attention, including the one from which the rat came out. A small sign above them reads, items for trade. Okay. So we can search a shelf. We can discard any card we want from our tableau. And this is a discard ability. That means out of the game. It's not going to get refreshed. But we can pick a new card to replace it from the card stack A here. We can just take item 23, whatever that is. So this would be cool if, like, for instance, this only gives us 1 interact, right? So what if instead we take the interact, throw that one out, and add in our curiosity, right? So it's a way to kind of upgrade some of our base cards with something a little more powerful. Or we can go for item 23. Who knows what that is? Card 3 is... You see 2 big drawers, and to their right, an apothecary chest with a bunch of small drawers. Examining the apothecary chest, you notice that some internal mechanism only allows you to open 2 drawers at a time. And every time you do, there's something different inside. The drawers have numbered labels. Add the numbers of any 2 drawers. Use the sum as the target for the action to get a special item. Interesting. Okay. Search the big drawers or open 2 drawers. Oh man, there's all sorts of cool stuff in here. Cabinets, was that 3? Oh, I did the right one. Look at cabinets, it's 5, not 4. I almost looked at 4. There's a big cabinet under the shelves. It's 2 gorgeous lacquered doors in red and black lines and with some gold ornaments. It has a knob and a keyhole under it. Try the cabinet, try key on cabinet, break cabinet. Interesting. So we got our key back, so we can definitely do that. Anyway, so you can see here that if we ever want to, I suppose we can come back to this car and buy some more items as the game progresses. This must be our little shop. We can also talk to the rat, or we can try and move on to the next cabin. So there's a lot of choices here, right? There's a lot of ways you can go. You can kind of, I don't know, build your character, I guess you can. So it's a bit of a tableau builder where you're trying to switch out some of these lower abilities for abilities that have maybe 2 or 3 icons on them. There are a couple of little puzzles in here, and you can see already if we were to reset and restart the game, we would go through that first cabin very differently, right? We wouldn't waste our time on a lot of them. We would know where to go to get where we needed to be. I like the fact that this key is going to be continually reused, so like we don't have to search for a key in every single cabin. The keys we get, we can take with us. So there is, I think, some really cool replayability in this because you are following one little path that you don't really know what's in the others, right? We can't search all of these shelves. We can't get all of these items. Even if we know what's there, we're going to have a very limited amount of abilities that we need to use. So you can see how this is just a really cool idea, and you could put a really neat story behind this. Excuse me, by adding different cars, making them harder, changing what's in them. I really like the way this game plays. I think that these little backpacks and abilities, it's rather intuitive, the icons and how they all work. There isn't a lot of fiddling to it, and it is mostly card. The dice really is for, like where we saw here, where you have this hesitate or a possibility of failure. So you're not rolling a lot of dice. It really is kind of card management, ability management. And the only drawback being, of course, the replayability of this game means you're repeating the same actions you did before. All right, so if that's something like Time Stories or Seventh Continent where you just hate having to replay the early over and over again, you're like, yes, I've done this 5 times, I don't want to do this anymore, then this game might not be for you. If that doesn't bother you, then I think this is a really cool idea of a game. The idea of going from train cabin to train cabin is a nice little setup as well. But I just wanted to give you a taste. I don't want to play all of it and then, you know, destroy all of the fun of it. So I feel like this might be a good place to start. You, of course, go into this game with a little foreknowledge of, you know, get that suitcase open, get that key, and go to the bathroom, even though that seems like a weird place to start. It's like Mom always says, before you leave, go to the bathroom. And you know what? She's right for this game as well. But this is Multiverse Express. I think the designer has said where it is now, he's kind of happy with it for entering into the competition. I think it does show off what it can do, what it's capable of, and you could see how if somebody wanted to take this and run with it, I think it could go far. It is a lot of cards. One thing you could do if you want to print it out that maybe I think I would have done a little differently is you don't have to print out all of the cards, right? You can print out this base deck. You could print out the deck called 01. I guess print out the deck called 0, because as you saw, we referenced it. Print out all the first cabin, and then print out just one of these normal cabins, right? You don't need to print out all the normals and all the hards and the final boss if you don't want to. If you want to test this out, then just print out the first level and give it a go and see what you think. Fun game, different from the others I've played, very choose your own adventure-ish. And there's a lot of work put into this one, man. You can tell, and it shows. So Multiverse Express, and I will catch you guys next time.